Hey Janet, how's it going?
Good, Ben. How are you?
Good. Welcome to Love and Relo.
Thank you. I am so excited that I was asked to participate in this great podcast forum.
Are you kidding me? You're like the inspiration
Oh,
between
come
Love
on
and Relo.
now.
No,
Come
you are. The conversations that we've had over the years where you and I and maybe a glass of wine would sit there and just talk for, hours and get really deep. And
on.
it's like, and that made me sit back and think and say, I'm so blessed and fortunate to have all of these fantastically deep and meaningful relationships in my life. And I want to showcase those. And relocation is not all about white papers and benchmarking and whatever. The reason that we come to these conferences are because of the relationships.
Absolutely.
And I wanted to showcase that because I felt like it was the biggest untold story in relocation.
It's so true. And then we get together and we always think it's business, 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 but that's never
Right.
how I've done business. It's always been about the relationships and friends. And
Yeah.
so I think it's good that, and I love how you're making sure that not only that we network, but that people are getting to know us professionally and personally. I think that's amazing.
Well, I think every business is a relationship business.
Yeah.
And I think that people want to connect in a way that's not just here, but it's here
Mhm.
and or here, maybe here, it's over here. We're here. And I think that we're both in business development,
Right.
and I'm sure this is probably true in operations too, but we're both in business development. I'm a firm believer that people don't buy from companies, people buy from people. And
Yeah.
we both worked other places before and our relationships have come with us.
Yeah.
And I think that as we build our company's brand, in reality though, we're building our brands and we're talking about who we are. And I think that's what brings people in. So anyway, I say all that to say, I just wanted to showcase people like you and allow other people to get some of the joy that I've gotten from knowing you.
Thank you. You're always so kind to me, Ben. You're like, anyway, we'll get into that.
Well, it goes both ways too. It's so funny. I had this conversation. Here we go, talking about getting deep, right? And by the way, before I get off too deep, too fast, I want to make sure everybody who is with us on LinkedIn, I want you guys to go ahead and put the name of your company, put the city that you're in, leave a little something there in the comments below. Also, go ahead and hit the likes and the applause, please. For some reason, the validation means so much. Yeah, here we go. And if you're on Facebook, I want you to, look at this. See what love does. When you love others, it comes back to you.
My peeps are in the house. Yay. Thanks, guys.
Kathy checking in there. And then look, you got more friends too. Mona.
Those two girls are like sisters. We grew. Mona is my friend since first grade. So wow. I don't want to tell you how many years that is. And Kathy is her sister. Right. And our families were like the same. They have 7 kids. We had 7 kids. And anyway, we're like sisters and friends. So it's awesome. Thanks, guys.
That's spectacular. Mario Cunningham jumping in here. Hey guys. Kelly Gurin. Hi guys from Phoenix. Timothy Nowak, love that. People crave genuine human connections. That's it.
Yeah.
It's so funny because when I've been on 2 planning conferences for ERC, and we sit in a room for 2 days and we try to think of topics that people want to hear about, right? And when we look back at the responses we've gotten from previous years or what our most successful sessions are, it's always the inspirational keynote session. It's always the speaker that teaches us how to love more deeply or feel or be authentic or tell our story or whatever. And it's not necessarily even relocation, nuts and bolts stuff. It's people stuff.
Yeah.
And yeah, people crave the connection.
And you really bring that out in people. You get to know people personally, as I mentioned before. But I'm just curious, what is it about you? Is it something that's inbred in you, or is it like how do you?
Yes, I'm inbred.
Sorry.
No, thank you for saying that. I think it was instilled in me early on by my grandmother. and my father, that you have to love people, right? That God is love, right? And it's about loving others and taking care of people that can't necessarily take care of themselves. There's some people out there that believe, God takes care of those who take care of themselves. And I believe it's quite the opposite. In fact, he sent Jesus to us because we can't save ourselves, right? And so we have to always remember that only by the grace of God here, are we here, right? And will we be wherever we are? So, knowing that, and the fact that I've been blessed. It's funny. I was thinking about this going on into this conversation, Janet. For the first 10 years of my career, I used to talk and people didn't listen. They didn't care. It frustrated me to no end because I think I was always trying to promote myself and my ideas, and I had my agenda. And it wasn't until I started promoting others and helping others achieve their agenda in life that barriers just removed themselves and things became easy, and just the outpouring of support and love and generosity started to come, and so I've just believed that. I've walked in that, and I just continue to, and I just try to serve other people,
awesome. Yeah, I strive for that myself. And in fact, when I used to attend the conferences, which I know we'll get into, when I had my own business there, or even still to today, I'm always accused of introducing other people's companies instead of my own, but it's just the way it works. I love networking. I love introducing people. And if I feel it's a right fit, I go for it. So,
yeah.
But speaking of love, I also find, and maybe I'm getting ahead of myself here, we have so many things to talk about, but it's the month of love, and the show is called Love+Relo. And, you spoke on this about loving others, and, God says it's the greatest command, but I also find it's one of the hardest thing to do is love. And it's easy to love the lovable, but it's so hard to love the unlovable.
And what about when you try and people let you down? Or you open yourself and become vulnerable, because in order to love others, we have to really open our heart, right?
Exactly.
And they may not return it, they may not receive it, they may take advantage of it. And that's a hard thing for me. I was going through that last week, and I was talking to my dad about this, and I'm like, I can't believe so-and-so did such and such to me and whatever. And he said to me, he's like, well, I used to be a good man. My wife says I'm a good man. I say I used to be a good man because I've been hurt, a lot of times. And I said, yeah, but I mean, that's not what Jesus would have for us, like we have to turn the other cheek. We have to remain open, right? And not be insulted and not take offense, And so it's such a hard thing to do.
Very hard. I've been doing a lot of it.
How do you do that, Janet? I mean, I've
been doing a lot of it myself this year in particular over that, and what I've done with it actually is it's made me look at myself a lot more. And I'm one of 7 kids, like I said, crazy house. So I'm pretty much a reactor. So I've had to take a step back from reacting and realize that perception is not always reality. Sometimes things that really hurt me is I'm perceiving as done on purpose, or, whatever my baggage is that I come to the table with. But I've had to take a step back and stay quiet. And I honestly went to God with it every time. And I've gone into the Psalms. Quite frankly, there's David who was being chased by enemies and, people trying to murder him. And then in the end, he would seek God and then speak of how, how there was victory. And I found that by not reacting, if I could remember that, I didn't even have to do anything. Things just fell into place, and it made that person easier for me to love, or to love in the best way I knew how. And it wasn't in my strength.
Yeah. And I think oftentimes when people do that and let us down or hurt us, it's because they have their own baggage, and they've either been hurt or it's been something, a pattern that's been imprinted in their life, And if we realize, my dad told me this too, because he's a counselor by trade and a minister, but he told me that hurt people hurt people. And so if you realize that a person that's hurting you is coming from a place of hurt, then now instead of it's how do I react, it's like, how do I break that cycle? Right. And if I can break that cycle and help that person break that cycle, so I just carry with me a great responsibility, I think, because I feel like I've been given so much more than I deserve,
Yeah. And, good way to look at it. Yeah.
Yeah. I've got a couple more people checking in. I just want to say hey to these people because they was nice enough to comment here. Mario Reyes, good afternoon from Salinas, California, South Bay Moving Systems. Hey, Mario. Mario Cunningham, we got a lot of Marios. Multiple Marios. Legacy Transit Lines, Fayetteville, Arkansas. These are great new names. Let's see here. We got Donald Hatt. Hello from Sioux Falls. Hey, Don. Drew Phillips here with Sterling Lexicon, smashing that sell button from the Bay Area in California. Florin Petruta, hello from New York. Good looking guys.
Hey, Florin. Hey.
You know Florin, right?
Yeah, Florin. I was going to talk about him actually.
Florin just moved my mother-in-law.
Oh, really? Oh,
yeah, he moved her from Staten Island to the Poconos.
Good. I was going to talk about him. I'll get to it. I'll put a note.
Okay. All right. Well, tell me, what do you got about Florin?
I was going to say about, we're going to get into ageism and, the OP60, YP40. So I was just going to say that I recently I've been given a committee seat at the Independent and Small Movers Forum at AMSA. And I have it reminds me of you in a way. I have such a passion for young and new starters in this industry that I'm so excited I was accepted on that forum. And I just love to help movers that really don't know international, because I'm always like, don't be afraid, just lean on me. That's what I do. And, Florin is one guy that I've been trying to, we've been doing a lot of, I don't want to say, anyway, helping him with the paperwork, how our industry is, how important that is, how the rates are structured.
Well, what you're doing though, and this is a big pillar for me as well. What you're doing though is you're showing him a new line of business. You're helping expand his business by giving them this information, right? And now all of a sudden now he's an international. That's a whole new line of business. Yeah. After all these forwarders, after all these military move management companies, whatever, and he'll always remember you for that, Janet.
Yeah,
that's our legacy, helping others.
Don't get me choked up.
Oh, is it too early? Is it the 12-minute mark too early to cry? No, but I mean that's my legacy. Like, isn't that a beautiful thing to feel that way? To say, hey, I'm planting a seed with this person that's going to grow. And then what's even cooler, if you want to really cry, is thinking about now when this person grows their business and now they're feeding their family with that, and now all of a sudden they're hiring more people to do that work, and now they're feeding their family with that. You know what I mean? It's like you're multiplying the loaves and the fishes.
I hope so. That would be awesome. That's an awesome
thing. It takes you really relatively nothing to do that. A little bit of time, a little bit of effort, a little bit of going out of your way, but nothing extravagant. But when you have a fertile soil like that and a person like that who can receive these gifts, and then you plant those seeds in that person, and you watch them grow, and you take pride and you feel good in that. But then they also now look back and say, "Look at Jana helped me so much,"
But kudos to him, because I have tried it before. My friend Ro is on. I see her on here, Facebook, but I've been through about 10 moves with Ro. But anyway, she had these local guys in Brooklyn. Who are veterans that I really tried to help them and groom them in the business, but it didn't work out. So, I mean, sometimes it works out, but Florin really, really tries, so.
Yeah. Your girl Ro over here is leaving some great comments over here. Also, Joe Fick. Hi, Ben from sunny Malibu. Hey, Joe, how's it going? Let's see here. Oh, and Mona, by the way, did the math on you when you were waiting.
Thanks, Mona. Today's her birthday, by the way. She's older than me, so.
Oh, there you got her back. That's great. All right, cool. Let's see here. Who else we got here checking in with us here? All right. Rory Ramirez, hello from Broadview Mini Moves. I'll tell you what, I love you, Rory, man. You're always tuning in every single episode. I appreciate that so much. Jack Jampel. Oh, this is
Jack.
Jack, right? This guy's great. He nails it right here. He says, people will forget what you said. They will forget what you did. Thank God they do. But they will never forget how you made them feel.
Yeah, true.
Wow.
Now he's going to get us choked up.
I know it, Jack. Stop it, Jack.
You got two keepers on your hands here.
I know it, really. Oh, man, this is great. Mark Colmer. Janet, about time you get Janet on here, Ben, Mark says.
Hey, my buddy Mark. How's the beard balm going?
How's the what?
Mark got some beard balm, too.
Oh, he got some beard. By the way, I think it's an appropriate time to plug Planet Janet Apothecary for the beard balm for all your your beard needs here. All right, now that you got me on it, tell me a little bit about this stuff here. I'm gonna apply it. I'm a beard model now. Tell me a little bit about what I'm putting on here. And am I doing it correctly? Because I'm doing it so dainty over here.
Well, I mean, I would rub it in my hand and go like this, but you only have a tight beard. So I know you requested a roll on. I'll work on that. But
I'm doing R&D over here on the side.
The inspiration was, you know, I got a little side passion of herbal medicinal herbs and you know, natural eating. Like there's so many weeds that are medicine. But anyway, my son has a big old beard, so I just like thinking of him and rubbing it in his beard. So that was my inspiration. But also, talking of love, everything that I create like that is done in love. I spend a lot of time. Each of those herbs have to macerate for Ben's having a bath over there, 4 to 6 weeks. And every day I have to shake it and turn it, and I put my energy in it, and it gets a lot of love. So feel the love on your face.
Thank you so much. That should be your tagline. All right, here we go. So plug in the balm. All right, Jamie Massler. Hi, Ben and Janet, Corporate Housing Associates. Some good advice a boss once told me. Don't react. Take a few moments and respond. Yeah. Do you ever do that, Janet?
I'm working on it. That's been, you know, I'm a work in progress still, but I had a pretty good year of doing that. And there's been positive results by me just taking a moment. And, you know, it doesn't always happen, but.
So I have a bit of a temper.
Really?
Sometimes I can really react and I can really get worked up, and I write, and I'm a writer. So I can write some emails. Let me tell you what, I can write some emails. And so, but one of the things I've learned is to slow down, don't send it, take a look at it. I'll leave it open all day. I'll rework it all day. Yeah. And usually I can work it down to like 2 lines.
Right. Good. That's good.
Oh,
you're putting it to work.
Yeah. All right. Matt Smith, how's it going? Matt from Move Matcher. Hey, Matt. Mario Cunningham, LOL. I know Mario Reyes. He's a great guy and a mentor of mine. That's nice. Thomas Bailey in all caps.
Hey, Thomas. He got some beer bomb too.
Did he really? For his little tiny mustache?
For that little goatee he has.
Tiny little thing right there.
He can go like this.
Oh gosh, that's great. Thomas says 2 of my favorite people in the industry.
Aw, Thomas, love you.
And Florence says you guys rock. I hope you have good things only. Drew Phillips, the industry needs more people in relationship showcase such as this. The relationships are out there. Let them shine. Thank you, Drew. Love you, man. Florence says, I need to be up to your level of expectation. Thank you, both of you. This is how you should do supplier reviews, just right here. You should just talk about how good people are, bad people are, right here on the internet. Be like, yeah, use this guy in New York. He's good. Oh, this person in Philly's not good. That'd be hilarious. Sean Wood, hello from Amman, Jordan. Nice.
Wow. Hello.
I love it when we get the overseas crowd in. Robert Vespa, hi, Janet. See you at AMSA.
Yeah.
Janet, you're going to AMSA, right?
Yes, I am.
Phenomenal. Roy Ramirez, you are on the wrong side of the screen. My CDO is going haywire, OCD, but it's got to be in alphabetical order. Oh goodness. Hold on.
We're all over the place.
Hold on one second. Let's see this. There we go. That was my man Rory right there. Mark Coleman.
Okay, Rory, thanks for paying attention.
I know it really. I've been using on my Mark says I've been using on my face while skiing. Been liking the protection from wind chap.
There you go. Another little piece to add to it.
Planet Janet. Thomas Bailey. Really? I would have never guessed it. Arpin driver from Vidal, California. Stephen Meyer. And then Roy Ramirez says he needs some beard balm.
All right. Send me your address.
There we go. Look at that. This is great. And then George is checking in again. Hi from sunny Florida. George is also a good friend.
Hey, Georgia. I'm in sunny Florida myself.
So Georgia, this is a good segue. Georgia was one of the first people I met when I went to my first IAM conference. She was running the first-time attendees breakout session, basically teaching us how to network. And I give her partial responsibility for my networking skills. And so anyway, she was the first person I met then. But I wanted to bring up, how did you and I first meet? And kind of, could you tell that story a little bit?
Absolutely. I love to tell that story. So, I mean, I'd seen you around the industry. I think I first met you when you were with Pack Rat, probably. But I mean, we didn't really connect. I mean, you were much younger than I was, and you were running around, and it seemed to me to be very popular and sort of hands off. And, and then through different networking events, we got to talk a little bit more. But what really connected us was the year that I turned 60. I was at an ERC conference in Seattle. So my birthday is in September, and then that conference was in October. And I remember feeling like 60 really affected me. Age never affected me before, but I was feeling there's so many young people coming into the industry. That's beautiful. I love that. So much technology that I can't even keep up with. Just so many things. And, sort of just feeling like, where do I fit in? What do I do here? I can the shoes I have to wear at conferences are basically orthopedic at this point. I mean, I can't wear, those high heels. My waist has shrunk. I mean, so many changes going on in my life. The chins are, growing. But so after the conference was over, we had the opportunity to get together at the bar. And I just started to share with you how I was feeling. And I opened up. There's something about you that just made it really easy. And I just needed to be honest with someone. I was feeling really out of place that whole conference, and just felt like, what do I do? And I remember saying to you, I think I'll dye my hair one of those crazy colors. And you were like, no, Janet, do not do that. Do not. That's not what you have to do.
You were talking about purple or blue, or
like blue and purple, and you were like, no, absolutely not. Do not do that. I still think about that. But
I still don't. Actually, I changed my mind on this. I think you should do it.
Okay.
And I don't think you should have done it when you wanted to do it, because I think you would have been masking a different issue.
Exactly.
But I think you've evolved a lot now, and now it's different.
Yes, I agree with you. That really made a big difference. So what you did was embrace me, and you said, embrace it. Take your turning 60 and use it. And you and Thomas were starting to do all your videos and get really active in social media. And you just encouraged me to embrace it and use it and make a video. And you told me about the book, Crushing It. And I ran right out and got the book and taken the stairs, and everything you said, I just held on to. And I remember when I made my first video, not that I've done many, because, it's still kind of hard, but I sent it to you for approval. And I don't even think you looked at it, because you said to me, I don't care what it says. I don't care if it's perfect. Just get it out there. Just put it out there, and people are going to love it. And it just blew up. I couldn't believe it. You were so right. Like, everyone was commenting. And then I did this little joke thing about, I was about turning 60, but 60 is the new 40. And then I did this little joke thing about YP40s everywhere. What about OP60? And that I got so much response on that OP60 thing that I really want to do something with that. So,
Janet, I'm going to cut in here for a second. What happens is, when you start telling your story, when you start just speaking, you start to feel, wait, time out. This is true. This is really me. This is right on. And you start to hit a note, and sometimes when we make these pieces of content, we don't know what people are going to cling on to and what they're not going to cling on to until it's over, until it's done, and when you talk about OP60, I mean, frankly, so many people have mentioned that type of an idea to me, and there's such a market for those types of feelings and ideas, and there's a need to have a community like that. Because
I agree.
I think when people get older, they start to feel less relevant, and they start to feel like, wait, I'm not one of the cool kids anymore, But when a third of the room or a quarter of the room is in the same boat, you still have community.
Yeah.
You still have relevance there,
Right. I'm feeling it. Obviously, other people are. And I was just surprised at how many people responded to that. And, so just plugging, if AMSA people or IAM or ERC, I really would love to create something like that. I even got my fundraiser in mind. And, and then after I did that, I don't know if you remember, shortly thereafter, this guy came on and he wanted to legally change his age. And then it just seems to be an upcoming thing, like you're saying, a need for it. I just recently listened to that Gary Vee interview with this Chip Conley. Yep. I just bought his book. He has a school called, and he got hired at, he started small boutique hotels, and then he got hired at Airbnb at like 52 or 54. And he said he was like 90% of the people were like much younger than him. He didn't even understand the lingo, which I feel like half the times. But they started to call him a modern mentor. And I love that name too. So he wrote a book. He has a modern mentor school that's in Baja. So I just find that there's more and more people, and I feel like I have a place now. And thanks to you, you really encourage me, and you constantly give me shout outs. You've put me out back on the map, I feel like. So,
well, you know what, you've always encouraged me, and you've always inspired me with your love and your support and your belief in me, you know. And so it's just one of those things where you get out what you put in, you know. And I've always felt like, I mean, I'm sorry, I keep making things about me. I'm sorry, but
no,
I'm going to get back to this idea. And by the way, if you like the OP60, I want to hear it in the comments. I want to hear your thoughts about OP60. Should we have an OP60 group? You know, what should it be like? I already saw one person's like, old people 60. What does that stand for? Yeah, I mean, put it in the comments, right?
Professional 60, but if you want to call it old people.
Yeah, So anyway, so, you know, but I felt like there was a time in my life when people didn't really believe in me. And so I always had like this chip on my shoulder, or like this feeling that I wasn't good enough or whatever. And so whenever anybody does, you know, believe in me and encourage me, frankly, I always remember that, you know. And so, you know, any way that I can ever help you, you know, or encourage you or support you or whatever, you know, I can do. You
always do. And I can never thank you enough. And, you know, I don't know if, I'm sure people have heard me mention, and I know in my own personal life, people know that Ben and Thomas are and there's so many others that are mentioned, even, you know, Mark, but you've been my YP40 mentor. And I used to think that mentoring someone meant that, you know, you had an older person, but you have mentored me, you know, in keeping young and understanding some of the lingo and always keeping us updated. Like that whole podcast you had with, Andrew Bruzy with the AI. I mean, I had no clue what you guys were even talking about.
Me either. I had no idea.
But you said to me once, you said, but you try, Janet, at least you try. There's so many people that don't try to keep up with it, because very much in this industry, I say, I can't keep up. And you're like, but you try. So, yeah, I'm out there to mentor whoever I can, but I also appreciate my YP40 mentors.
Well, you know what? Thank you for saying that. And I think that mentorship is a two-way street. Yeah. I think it's a relationship, you know, and I think that oftentimes, like, you know, and it all started from at AMSA 40 Below, right? You know, we believed that one of our key things that we were going to try to do was do a mentor program where we were going to connect seasoned leaders with people under 40, right? Makes sense, right? Well, what we found is that the people in our organization at AMSA that were coming to these conferences were pretty accomplished professionals in their own right. And the people who were the more seasoned professionals that we said, hey, you would be a natural fit, maybe they didn't want to, or maybe there just wasn't chemistry, or maybe they didn't possess a skill set that the other person wanted to know about. And so in some ways it kind of evolved into the younger people mentoring the older people about marketing, you know, techniques, social media use in general, some recruitment strategies and things like that, you know, till we got to the point where we said, okay, instead of us prioritizing the voices of our older counterparts, let's start to actually not, you know, stop selling ourselves short, and let's put ourselves on these panels, and let's start doing our own webinars and start to spread the information that we have and the knowledge that we have. Conversely, though, as I grow up and I'm a dad now, and you know, I have more responsibility, you know, I love hearing stories from my older counterparts about how they maybe started a business back in the day, or how'd they start their 100 truck moving company with, one truck with holes in the floor? How did they get their first account? How did they get their first line of credit or whatever, right? And I love those stories.
Yeah.
And how do you manage your family, and my kids are 1 and 4 right now, and are they going to be okay when they grow up, or not? Like, what do I need to be doing right now? If you could look back on yourself at my age, what would you tell me to do? Those are the kinds of questions, that I ask. But I would ask you, so going into that, I would ask you about, a lot of people may not know this about you, especially if they've met you recently, but you used to own a business. Mm-hmm. Can you tell me about that?
23 years. So yeah, I mean, I should say that I currently am the director of sales and marketing for Accelerated International.
Mm-hmm.
So I should plug my own company, and my job is to network and bring in new business as well as new vendors, and just to get our name out there. But prior to that, I'm there, October of 2020 will be 6 years. Okay. So prior to that, I owned my own household good forwarding business for 23 years, and that was called WIS capital E Enterprises. So pretty much Wise Enterprises, but it was a little play on the lettering there. And so 23 years, and I'd love to tell that story, because I don't think it might not be possible now, but you never know. And it was truly about relationships. So I had been in the industry. I started as in freight forwarding right out of high school, quite frankly, and then I worked in the steam.
How did you get into? I'm sorry. How did you go from high school to be a freight forwarder?
If you want to go that far back, but when I was in high school, I took secretarial classes, and they had a program called co-op, where you work a week and go to school a week. So in my senior year, I did that. I'm the third of 7 kids. So like if I wanted a mascara, I mean, I pretty much had to hustle for babysitting or whatever. So right. The idea of working and making money was important for me. And I did the co-op. I worked at South Beach Psychiatric Center, Staten Island, as a secretary. By the way, Ben's wife is from Staten Island, so I get to meet his family now, and we're kindling, I guess, from Staten Island. But anyway, so when I graduated high school, they wanted to keep me, and I could kick myself now because it would have been a state job, so I probably could have been retired with a pension, but. Anyway, I said, no, I want to go in the city where everybody's working in Manhattan. So I literally took the ferry, Staten Island ferry, into Manhattan with my sisters who were already working, and pounded the pavement, so to speak. Like literally went to buildings and rang the elevators and said, hey, are you hiring? You can no longer do that. And that just reminds me of a funny side story, if I might talk about generational talk. So when my son was 14, and I'm pushing him, get a job. And then after college, I was constantly saying, you should be pounding the pavements. You should be pounding the pavements. And then finally one day he said to me, Mom, I don't know what the heck you're talking about.
Pounding the pavement.
So just one of those generational lingo or languages. But anyway, that's what I pretty much did. And I had 2 friends that I went to high school with, and they were working for a freight forwarder, Heidels Incorporated. And they said, why don't you come work here? And that was the start in the shipping industry. I've been in the shipping industry ever since. And then my friend Mona worked there. I got her a job there. But then I went into the steamship industry. And then one of the steamship lines I was working for rented space to Imperial International, which was a household good forwarder. And they were the steamship line was going out of business. So the household good forwarder said, hey, why don't you come and join us? So that's how I got into household goods. So Imperial became Dean Worldwide, then became Crown. And anyway, numerous things happened, but I was pretty much a coordinator. And then I wanted to get into sales because I like people. And I remember my boss at Dean would say, oh, just go back to your desk. And I was like, but I want to do sales. So we had a Japanese salesperson that worked with us, and she started her own business. And after a year, she said, why don't you come and join me and do sales and bring in American companies, because she was pretty much just selling to Japanese. And so that's how I got my foot into sales. And then, you know, growing my own
book
clients.
Yeah.
And how I got in was also going into buildings in Manhattan and seeing if they had the word international in their name. I would, you know, or whatever, do still sort of what I try to do today, like, you know, look through the internet, see who's moving people, you know, all kinds of ways. But anyway, I remember one of my biggest clients that I landed that's stayed loyal to me for many years was Philips Electronics. And when I finally got to meet the lady, she asked me a question about customs, and there was like an issue with customs at the time. So I was just very honest, and I said, there is this problem going on, and blah, 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 blah. And she said, that is the most honest answer that I've heard, and whatever. So I got the business, and that was really my biggest client for a lot of years. So I was working for Victory Van Lines in Staten Island at that time, and I decided to try to give it a. It was kind of crazy. I just had this.
What made you just quit your job and say, you know what, I'm going to start my own thing?
I knew people would follow me. I knew I had clients that would follow me. I had that confidence, and I wrote out like a little business plan, and I just did a lot of praying about it, like I do. And I always pray that if it's for me, open the doors. If not, slam them shut. And the doors just open. And so back then, I didn't have money. I borrowed $1,000 against my credit card. I had a partner too. And we bought a fax machine and a phone and some, you know, paperwork, and we both contributed $1,000. And I went out to people in the industry that I had met over the years from all over the globe. And I said, I'm thinking about starting my own business. Will you do this job for me and give me 60 days credit? Back then, people wanted to get paid in 30 days, and people paid in 30 days.
People still do.
But I said, could you give me 60 days credit? Let me build the job out, get paid, and then pay you. And it was the first time. I always say that no one could take that away from me, that people from around the globe were saying, whatever you need, Janet, whatever you need. And I was like, so it's me they like, you know, not who I work for.
So that was the first time when you realized that it was your personal brand, that you had built up your reputation. People used to call personal brands not a new thing. People used to call it reputation.
Right.
It was your reputation, your character.
Exactly.
People believed in.
Exactly. So from steamship lines to agents, you know, around the globe, and I had the Philips business, so they kind of, I guess, knew that was a set thing. And so they supported me in it. If it wasn't for so many people, I mean, they're the ones who made it happen for me. So,
and to this day, you know, whatever that is, 20, 30 years later, whatever that is, you still remember that, and you still carry that, you know. And
I still see some of my friends and colleagues in the industry that help me out too, you know, so that's kind of nice.
Wow. So flash forward now. Now you know, stop working for yourself. You know, you work for Accelerated now. And how long have you been with Accelerated?
2020 will be 6 years in October.
Okay, and you do biz dev, same as me. You know, out there pounding the pavement, or a professional people dazzler, as I like to say sometimes. And so, but when you're not, you know, freight forwarding for all the RMCs and large corporations in the world, you know, you got some other stuff going on. You have some other interests, you know, which is another thing that I really like about you, Janet, is you pursue a diverse interest. So tell me about this Planet Janet Apothecary right here. How'd you get into this? And
probably
how did I come to find this beautiful beard balm on my desk?
You know, probably a little bit of my craziness. I guess obviously I like to be busy, but I've always been into a holistic approach if I could. And then the same year that you inspired me, when I turned 60, my girlfriend met me in Seattle, and we drove down the coast and flew out of San Francisco, and we did some wine tasting, which is another passion that I could speak of. But we also did a herbal medicine class, just a brief little thing, and it just sparked something in me that, so then I went on to take a weekend herbal medicine 101. I went out and bought tons of books. I keep telling everyone, when I mention buying a book, you need to stop me, because I'm not even reading all the books I need to read. but I just, I love it. I mean, every morning I make a custom blended tea that's incorporated with medicinal herbs, whether I have an ailment going on or just for immune boosting. And it's every morning love is, love is put into that. And I haven't yet really sold it because I just love giving it. And as you know, it says made with love. That's my little thing, that everything is made with love. And, my friends keep bugging me to get a website, and I will. Right now I have a job, but I will look into that. But it is just a way that I love. It's like food. Food equals love to me. When people visit me, I want to put out a banquet table. We get choked up. I'm going to end that.
Oh, okay. Well,
but anyway. So yeah, it's that same kind of love that food is. I love preparing for people. I love serving people. When my kids come, I just, we got switched.
I tried to show a picture and it wouldn't let me. I messed up here. I messed up. There you go. All right. I was trying to show a picture of some of your apothecary stuff that you were doing. Not that fancy.
And you know what I've come to learn is I bought you one of these books called Taste and See that my daughter-in-law bought for me. And, all of it is God, right? And his bounty. And that's what inspires me to do this. There's weeds that are growing in my backyard. I started to look at the way the landscaper was mowing down my grass because some of it is medicine, and, it's provided for us. And I just expanding that knowledge. And I feel the same about food. It's all God to me. So
yeah, I have the same relationship where I like to cook for people, and my wife always tells me, don't go crazy. We got people coming over, my family's coming over, but don't go crazy. And I'm like, well, that's just how that's how I show my love. That's how I hug them, it's like, hey, I made this spread for you. I hope you enjoy it. I hope you taste the effort and the attention,
Right. That's one thing, having an Italian husband, I never could say. In fact, he would be the one that would have way more. Coming from one of 7, it's like my family will say, why do you go so crazy? Why do you have to go so crazy? But it's, even though I'm exhausted, it's just my way of loving. So and then the other thing I do that I shared with you recently is because I have a passion for tasting and talking wine. There's a little local farm here that's a You Pick It strawberry farm and vineyard. And 3 years ago, I went for a little wine tasting there. They're muscadine grapes. They're the only grapes I've learned that grow well in Florida. So it's not my favorite variety of wine.
It's kind of sweet, right?
Very sweet.
Yeah.
But the local Floridians and other, ethnic people absolutely love it. And when I went in for tasting, I was like, hey, I love to talk and taste wine. And so this is my 3rd winter. It's only from like late November, beginning of December till the end of February for me. There is March, but I'll be at 3 conferences and I just can't do it. But I become part of the family. They don't even want to sell their own wine anymore. I'll be like, it's a little rainy. Do you want me to come? No, I'm not selling my wine. You come in and sell the wine. So with time, I mean, it gets really crazy sometimes. I'm on my feet from 9 to 5, but I work on this beautiful farm that grows strawberries out my window, and they have picnic tables and a big old oak tree and a You roasted hot dog. And there's me talking wine.
Yeah, Janet talking wine. I love it. That's fantastic.
You see how everyone seems interested. So they're
riveted. They're riveted. I don't know if you're slurring and they can't hear you.
No.
If they're just absolutely rapt with attention.
It's a lot of fun. And I get to really practice my patience too, and slowing down. And some of the people that, come in, they get like the very little tiniest sip and they savor every minute of it. And sometimes I'm trying to rush them, like, okay, so this is the next one because I got a crowd. But then I have to say, look at how they're enjoying. Take a minute, so it's been a good test in patience for me as well. And it's so much fun.
That's awesome. So you do that, you're making the what do you call this? Personal care? I mean, what do you call it?
Yeah, I mean, I do tinctures for health. I do teas, and this is my second like salve or balm. The one I did is for bites or scrapes or burns, and
Yeah, I need some stuff. I need some stuff for my hands because my hands get really dry. I get eczema, hands get dry, crack, itchy, all that stuff. So I don't know if you got anything, for that. But
okay, I'll work on it. See, you're always inspiring me, Ben.
Thank you. Let's see here. I think I inadvertently kicked a bunch of people off of LinkedIn. We got some people on Facebook still coming in here, but I think when I took us both out of the stream or something, maybe it kicked people off. I don't know.
Oh no.
Yeah, it's fine. They'll come back. So let's see here. It says Roy Ramirez, thank you so much. That's amazing. Jamie Massler, wait, I just turned 50, so am I a tween? Yep, Jamie, you are a tween. You're a troublemaking tween. Let's see here. Paula Kupka, Love and Relo, hashtag OP60. She loves it. She loves it. So many people love it. That's an awesome story, Miss Janet, and you're definitely looking great for 60. Hashtag 60 is the new 40. Hashtag OP60.
What was that?
That was Mario Cunningham.
Oh, okay. One of the Marios.
Do you know Mario?
I don't think so.
I don't either. He doesn't usually come on here. Let's see here. Legacy Transit Lines, Fayetteville, Arkansas.
Okay.
Nice guy. I like this guy, Mario.
Yeah,
it's a good guy. Jim Walsh, hi, folks. You two are class acts that both have a passion for learning and also a passion to serve. See you at AMSA. That's nice. Isn't that stuff nice? And then from the same company, Tom Canellan, a.k.a. Tommy Cannoli.
Hey, Tom.
Hi, Janet. You are the best. And Ro echoes that. Janet, you're amazing. Always so resourceful, she says. Look at this. Kathy also wants clarification on OP. It doesn't sound good when you say it out, but you had to be there.
Right. It's just the YP40 thing.
Yeah. This is great. And then we got a bunch of people just being real nice to you. You're beautiful, very knowledgeable, goes a long way. Look at this. I mean, how many podcasts do people just write in and just say such sweet things, right? You know?
You want me to shut up there.
I know. Well, read on. Keep reading. It gets better. Oh, good stuff. Well, Janet, what else is going on with you? What else are you thinking about? What are some of the things that you're thinking about these days as we have just a few more minutes?
I mean, really just trying to stay motivated in this, in this Relo world where people are merging, companies are bigger. You can't really get into corporate clients without knowing the number, the extension, the name. It's a very different sell for me. And, being, I guess, a little bit older, that's a challenge. So I'm just trying to stay on top of that. I mean, really connecting at these conferences has been a big way for me, getting to know people personally. But I'm just trying to keep it going and feel upbeat and alive and facing the challenges in learning. And
I think there's some opportunity out there if you wanted to start creating more content again. There's an opportunity out there to kind of bring us news on international shipping, because there's always some port somewhere doing something, some country somewhere doing something with customs. There's a fair amount of news, geopolitical impacts on customs, and I think that you could actually help, bring some of that to the forefront. So if that was something you wanted to work on, continuing to kind of carve out your niche, always happy to help you with that stuff.
And how about you? I mean, you have small children. So, I mean, what the 2020, how are you looking to, I mean, I know Love and Relo, this is one way of reinventing yourself or on social media, but.
Yeah. I'm getting it pixelated a little bit on your side there. It might be a little Wi-Fi connection. I don't know. But, with me last year, actually, it's kind of funny. Last year, my goal was to take it easy and work on, being more present at home with my family. And this year is kind of the opposite. I don't do balance very well. So I'm like either all in or not, And last year I was chilling, I was taking it easy, but honestly, my business took a hit, because of that. And this year I'm like, let me see what I can do when I'm giving 100%. I haven't given 100% in a while. Let me see what I can really do when I decide to give 100%. And so I'm just kind of testing myself right now and seeing what's out there, what I can accomplish. And I've got some very lofty goals for myself this year. And, we'll see. And then obviously always trying to still be a good dad and a good husband at the same time,
Yeah, there's one parenting tip that I will give upon closing. That, I mean, your kids are a little bit too young, but when they get into their teenage years, I say always be the driver, because kids forget you're in the car and you hear a lot of stuff and it's one way. And I never complained. I had plenty of friends that would say, I'm the only one that drives these kids. And I never complained. And maybe because I was a working mom, so I wasn't always present, but when I could be present, that's my little tip.
Okay.
If I had to look back at someone, give some advice to someone younger, is always be the driver.
Well, that's great, Janet. And I think on that note, I think that's a good place to end it. Rose says this has been so great, so fun, interesting, and inspirational.
Cool. Thanks, Ro.
Rose's been great. Really, really checking in and representing.
Yeah, Rose, she's
being present 100%. Andrew Bruzy, love this. It's great to hear how work-life harmony can work in the busy relocation world. We are all humans, and it's inspirational to look at the personal piece. Great job, Janet and Ben.
Thank you, Andrew.
Andrew was in Phoenix. His brother owns a winery. Brother or cousin owns a winery down there. So, there's more wine to taste.
Tom Canellan, too. His family's like big, and I think Sonoma.
Really?
One of the well-known. Hey, Tom.
Tom's holding out on me.
One of the well-known names, I think.
Tom, what winery is this? You gotta give a shout out. Send me a bottle and I'll taste and see.
Gary V has that empathy wine too. I'll have to get hooked up with him somehow.
Yeah, there's more to do. That's what we gotta end on. There's more to do here.
Okay.
Janet, thank you so much. This has been wonderful.
Love you.
Love you too.
Love.